Good afternoon, folks. I just have to give my feedback on a video that I've just watched on a channel called Mediocre. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. This is why I could never be a newsreader, because I would totally screw up the names and I would embarrass myself immensely. Anyway, I was reminded of a very important lesson that I should know by now. I really should know. And I keep getting caught out with this because I have a problem. I have a few problems, but one of the biggest problems in my character flaw is I tend to prejudge. I can be prejudiced. Don't confuse that with racist. I've never been a racist. I never will be a racist. However, I do put my hands up because a few times I am guilty of being prejudiced. I prejudge somebody. I see someone coming towards me, and if they fit a certain profile, I will prejudge them. But the good news is, however, I will give them their 15 minutes of fame. I will give them a chance to prove me right or wrong. So in this case, now, regarding this channel, Mediocre, it's a young guy, and he always starts off his introduction by doing something like that. He's a delightful young lad, without sounding too derogatory, and he always has a guest on his show, and they give feedback on various topics and various videos. And on this occasion, I mean, the women he normally has are quite beautiful anyway, but on this video I will leave the link of his video in the description box so you can see for yourself. The woman, in my opinion, was beautiful as hell. Immensely, extremely beautiful. I mean, if we had to go for these superficial marks out of 10, easy 9, no problem. And I would be confident to say, if I was to put her picture in front of every man, regardless of his race, no man would call her unattractive. She's absolutely beautiful. Now, this is where my prejudice kicked in. Before she spoke, before she expressed her outlook, I made the assumption, based on her being beautiful, that she would be your typical spoilt, superficial princess brat. Now, I'm not saying this applies to all of them, of course not, but I assumed that that's how she was going to come across. I assumed that everything about her was going to be purely superficial and shallow. That's what I expected. And because there's so much superficiality going on YouTube, that's what I expected. Because, especially amongst my fellow man, I've mentioned this before, right? My value on women, the value I place on women is very different to a lot of guys on YouTube. I always say there's two types of men when it comes to opinions on women. One sort of man values a woman only on how she looks. Then you got another sort of man who knows there's more to a woman than how she looks. And I class myself as the latter. Anyway, so when she opened her mouth and she started talking about her points of views, that's when I was blown away. I thought, wow, I did not expect that. I really did not expect that. And it was a slap in my own face to say, you see, don't judge a book by its cover. You should know that by now. By your age, you should know, don't judge a book by its cover. You would not like to be judged. So, you know, don't judge a book by its cover. It was a valuable reminder. Now, coming back to something, let me just go slightly over left field. Now, I've been challenged on my point of view, and something I've noticed, a thread that I've noticed with the people who challenge me on my point of view or things I've got to say or videos that I've uploaded, one thing they all have in common, they never show a picture of their face. And you go onto their channel, there's no material of any videos they've made. They're totally anonymous. Now, this is where my prejudice kicks in. Whenever I see this, right? Now, I'm not saying this applies to everyone who don't show their face on their YouTube profile, but I can't help when someone berates someone or criticizes them or attacks them, right? and the picture doesn't show, I always assume that there's some kind of inadequacy on their side. There's an element of them being a loser, right? That's why they're not showing their face. And especially when it comes to a man, I make the assumption that he probably has trouble getting a date, has trouble getting laid. He's probably depressed and very unhappy about it. And in order for him to feel happy and feel good about himself, he has to attack other people and bring them down to what he would perceive as his level. Now, I reserve the right to be wrong. I am not God Almighty or whatever. I don't, profess to know everything, but that's the impression I get. I mean, if they had a YouTube video and they replied to one of my videos, not that they really need, I've got a microscopic channel anyway, so really, who gives a fuck? But what I'm saying is, still, the fact that you can't see their face makes me suspicious. Anyway, so let's get back to the point at hand. When you see this video and you see what I'm talking about, this woman is immensely beautiful, and I just didn't expect her to be so deep. I really did not expect that from her. I feel even bad for saying that. That's terrible. Because she's beautiful, I didn't expect it to be deep. Oh, that sounds really bad. That's really bad. Oh dear. I really have a prejudice problem. I need to get on top of it. Oh, just before I go, Kirby, you're watching me? You watch me on YouTube? Yeah, you watching me with them curvaceous, thick thighs you got there, woman? Hey? Hey? You think I don't know that you're watching me? Hey? 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 Wait, hello, Kirby. Anyway, folks, gotta go, and thanks for watching my YouTube video. And Kirby, mwah, with them curvaceous, voluptuous, thick thighs you got there, gal. All right, speak to you later, bye.